It is extremely important that we go live right now. It is extremely important. It is of the essence that we go live directly to you. We don't know what the heck we're going to talk about. It's you have to. It's just about showing up. You don't know what you're going to do. You're ready. You go. You fly. You soar. You can never predict what's going to happen. When you want it to go great, you blow it. When you think it's an off day, the magic happens. It just comes and gets you. Who knows? Is it the planets? Is it the stars? Is fortunes favoring us? Apparently, the Boccaccio has all this stuff about fortune. I watched this video today about Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales. Neil Simon's plays are kind of like the Canterbury Tales. That's right, everybody. I know everybody's tuning back in from this is my extended lecture series on Neil Simon, giant of the American theater, the greatest American playwright. Neil Simon, giant of literature and letters. Did he get an Order of Chevalier of the Arts and Letters? Oh, did people see Patti Smith? Patti Smith has collapsed. That's kind of fucked up and scary. But Patti Smith goes hard. She's in Brazil. She's on tour in Brazil. Is Lenny Kaye there? I'm not sure. Or is it like her family band? That's cool either way. God bless Patti Smith. Keeping it real. Does Gen Alpha know who Patti Smith is? Where's the Patti Smith fucking biopic? Did they do one already? Didn't Kristen Stewart or something do it? Oh, is my mic on? Check. Testing. I didn't even... It's not this guy, is it? I don't think so. I think I've got my good... let me just check on my YouTube app here real fast. Let me screw with the video signals. I don't know. Are we going to talk about... Of course, are we going to talk about politics? Of course we're going to talk about politics. Let's get into it. Whatever the hell is going on today. I do want to check my live real fast. I got a fucking notification about it. How do I get to those? How's your day going, everybody? Happy Friday for those in the how do I just get this is oh fuck, I got to gotta respond to some text messages. I've been bad about getting back to certain text messages. So apologies to everybody that I haven't responded to on Instagram. I've just been hibernating in Neil Simon world. Okay, here it is. Okay, yeah, it's sounding great. It's looking great. Oh, let me get a little Spaceballs moment here for everybody. This is what happened to now? We missed it. When? Just now. When will then be now? Soon. I'm answering myself. Here's the question. What is your favorite color? Blue, what is your favorite song? I don't know if blue is my favorite color. Trying to get trippy with everybody. This is lo-fi live psychedelic. I'm watching my own stream here. So this is the YouTube monitor. I've got a monitor here. So this is experimentation, okay? This is experimental lo-fi. Why am I not getting an infinite loop there? I'm not getting an infinite loop. I'm only getting a couple. Are people getting car sick yet? Or look, this is the actual stream now, okay? You're gonna be looking at it like this. It's just gonna be a phone on 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 a phone. Maybe I'll pull back a little bit. Let's get some. Here we go. All right, we're doing it live, everybody. And this is exciting. Creating it live with time, building with time, building with sequences of time. This is like a fucking Pantoum. This is like a Sestina of reality. This is a fucking reality Sestina. Look at this. Look at how we're pure fucking. Give it a like, you assholes. Pure moods. Okay, I guess that's enough. Anyway, so that's our sound check right there. 1 2 1 2. Is this thing on Goots and Song? The Robbie Williams biopic, or people have opinions about it? Apparently Robbie Williams is not. I think Robbie Williams is famous in America for not being famous. It's famous that Robbie Williams is not famous in America. He did not make it. Oh, I started talking about Robbie Williams, so I lost somebody. Oh well, fuck him. Fuck him. Who needs him? Watch it later. Save it. Microwave it. This is like leftovers, you know. I know you don't want it. It's Friday at 1 p.m. I don't even know what people are doing. They're probably all at open mics. Well, probably half my subscribers are at fucking open mics right now. I don't know. I don't know who's out there. Psychos. The only complete psychos are on YouTube watching my... We salute the psychos. Don't make America great again, okay? That should have been our campaign slogan. Don't make America great again, okay? It's too late. We're back. They're twice as fucking... It's like you killed the final boss of the game and you think they're dead, and then they come back and they're like some kind of super version of themselves. And you're like, Jesus Christ. They've assimilated the pain and used to grow stronger. They've assimilated the defeats. They're twice as obnoxious as they were before. They're already killing people. Their negligence has already cost lives. I think it should be a wake-up call to people. I mean, I'm a libtard. I'm glad Bernie is out there roasting RFK Jr. about vaccines. Thank God for Bernie. Thank God for AOC. You know, this is why we needed the squad. People kind of took the squad for granted. And, you know, the comment I'm hearing in the Reddit forums that I consult with, there were a lot of pro-Palestinian voters in Michigan that didn't vote for Kamala. They voted for Trump because of the Democrats' stance on genocide. Or at least how it was slanted by the right-wing Russian-controlled apps. And that includes possibly TikTok. I don't know. Apparently, I was just watching this video. It was about how what Russia has been trying to do. Europe uses the United States. The United States agreed to be the bad guy after World War II, and Europe uses the United States to counterbalance the threat from Russia. Russia is this kind of imposing presence. And that's what sort of Ukraine is all about, right? Is like the NATO alliance between United States and Europe. United States being sort of Europe's bodyguard. Russia can't fuck with Europe because the United States will kick their ass. Basically. Or the alliance between the two. The super, you know, that's sort of like the World War II pact. So the point of the video was that, like, the Cold War for Russia was about separating the German-U.S. alliance that occurred after World War II. Germany and the United States agreed to kind of, like, I don't know, smooth things over. Germany changed, right? Obviously, I'm very well-versed in the subject. I watched a TikTok video about once. And, well, it just seems like these are the things that are playing out with the Ukraine. I don't know why they weren't showing this stuff before the election. Because you heard a lot of stuff about, you know, the neoliberal or whatever, the DNC, Kamala Biden, they're the war hawks. This is part of the reason. I mean, Russia did invade the Ukraine. It's not the other way around. And it's ostensibly because what they wanted Ukraine to join NATO or whatever. Ukraine did join NATO. I'm not exactly sure. Like our president, I don't know the finer points necessarily. He probably knows that, but there's a lot of shit he doesn't know. It's about the weave, people. It's about the weave. The hair, it's all about the weave. The speech. Okay, I've lost both my viewers. I started to talk about anti-Trump shit. I started to talk about Russian conspiracy theories, and I lost both my viewers. Well, fuck them. Fuck the Trumps. So this is why I was never able to build an. This is why I got off Twitch. And I guess it should have been a wake-up call because everybody in the fucking comments and watching these live streams is a fucking Trumper. And it was cute when Biden was in power. Now these psychos are really scaring the shit out of everybody. I mean, Pete Hegseth, this guy is going to handle this fucking Blackhawk situation. This guy was just on the Fox 5 or Morning Joe or whatever. What the fuck was he on? Was he on Gutfield? Now he's the Secretary of War. He's in control of the Pentagon. So these guys are shitting their pants, I think. I don't know if they really know what they signed up for. Any of them. That includes Elon, like running the government, handling these situations. It's like there's a fucking fire in California. There's North Carolina. There's this airplane thing. There's there's now these fucking, now Elon Musk is going to be in charge of all of it while he's running Twitter and Tesla because he's such a fuck, and playing Diablo 4 or whatever the fuck it is he plays. He's like, he cheated his way to being like one of the top, what is it? Mist or something, EverQuest. What the fuck is it? It's not Diablo. It's not Unreal Tournament. I don't know what the fuck. I'm not a nerd. I don't live my life on God. I mean, I'm not making fun of the nerds. Run everything, okay? It's not like you're picking on the weak. Like, nerds run everything. People that play video games run everything, okay? All of the tech people, they won. They run the government. They run Washington. They run Silicon. They run our lives. They run my fucking YouTube channel. They make this possible. Thank you. We bow to our tech overlords, the nerds. We kid because they're in power. And they run everything. Fuckbook. And we're sick of it. They have no riz. They have no charisma. They have no style. And goddamn, they just won't leave well enough alone. They're not getting the message. They're just butting further and further into our lives. I really think that they think democracy is just, they think they should be in charge. They're billionaire super geniuses. They're going to go to fucking Mars. They're building electric cars and fucking building state-of-the-art stalking technology. The most highly evolved stalking technology ever fucking conceived. And so it'll probably all collapse just into one big thing. Tech will be the government. They'll overthrow the government. They'll be the CIA, Palantir. I mean, the countries are already kind of formalities. It's just about these fucking businesses, these transnational security elite, as Julian Assange would say. What does he think? Where's Assange, right? He got fucking pardoned or something. They did free Julian Assange. On the bright side, on the positive, that happened within. Now what the hell does Roger Waters talk about? All he fucking talked about was freeing Julian Assange. Where's Roger? Is the wall back on tour? Where's Roger? He's always coming out hard against Trump. What are we going to do? Is it just going to be a remake of 2016 era? How are we going to fight the Nazis this time? Is it going to be more woke Marvel movies or more fucking... I mean, it really is fucked up how viciously they're attacking the DEI stuff as the scapegoat for this. That's incredibly fucking racist and fucked up and not true, but it's to be expected. I mean, the way they campaigned was they kind of acted cute. I don't know. Now they're going in with some really vicious policies and some really ugly, ugly fucking rhetoric. And not just rhetoric. The way that they're who knows? We're all fucked. Nobody took it seriously. You people are responsible. You let this monster back in. I did everything I could. I've been podcasting my dick off. I've been really capitulating to the DNC machine, okay? I've been justifying everything they do. I've been sort of naysaying any kind of positive. I've been bad-mouthing the Trump impressionists. I never believed it. I was always suspicious. I was down with the Kamala Beyonce rallies. I don't know. And here we are. Here we are. You know, we could have just had a war in Ukraine and now we're going to have a war in Greenland. They're serious about this. It's manifest destiny for the 21st century. There's more. We want more. I don't know. Look what Hitler did. He invaded Poland, for Christ's sakes. That was his first. And, I mean, Trump, it's sort of a Lebensraum rhetoric. It's like, oh, we need this. We need Canada. We need those minerals in Greenland. Like, apparently Greenland is the new Iraq because of the lithium and all. Or they have a bunch of fucking minerals that you put in phones and shit, in batteries and chips and GPU or whatever the fuck jack off tech bullshit. They have some kind of natural resource that the white supremacist South African apartheid Bitcoin trillionaires want to steal from them because that's what they've always done and that's what they will always do. We warned you, okay? The squad, AOC, save us. We need AOC now more than ever. God bless AOC. We love you, AOC. Thank God AOC is there. I think, Jamal Bowman, he got primaried. People were sort of like, oh, this woke squad. We don't like them anymore. But now how are we going to unite? Who is going to be the face? Is there a Gen Z fucking AOC? They're probably a Republican. It's Charlie Kirk or something. Or who's that guy? Who's that kid that shot the people in fucking Wisconsin? Give me a fucking like, for Christ's sake. Just kidding. Like and subscribe, everybody. We love you out there. You're watching Scenes from Life Live. Who's the kid that shot the people in Matt? I know there's no chat. We've muzzled the chat. We've silenced the chat. We've censored the chat, okay? For freedom of speech purpose. I have to be able to exercise my freedom of speech. In order to do that, I have to silence everybody else, okay? That's how it works. We have to allow the right-wing nut jobs back on Twitter. In fact, now they're like mandatory for even if you don't follow them, you're going to see Elon Musk. I can't get back into my Twitter because I forgot my password, which is maybe a tremendous blessing in disguise. But I do peek at it from time to time. And apparently it's just like mandatory that you have to look at Tucker Carlson's take on things. JD Vance, now it's like automatic. It's like when they put U2 on everybody's phone. This is like the right-wing tech version of for some reason, these tech people just invade our privacy. It's mandatory. You're going to have this U2 album that nobody wanted, that sucked super hard. Now it's mandatory. You have to follow JD Vance. You have to, now the Hillbilly Elegy audiobook has been installed on everybody's fucking droids. Are the Republicans cool now? Do you still think they're cool? You fucktards. 2 weeks in. I mean, obviously I'm a hyperactive, a hyper-reactionary liberal. And so I'm panicking. I knew we said we were going to be cool. We said we weren't going to care that much. We were going to just live our lives, but I am panicking, everybody. Where's the march? Where's the protest? Where's the we need people in the streets, God damn it. We're all live streaming now, I guess. Everybody's simultaneously yapping, trying to solve this thing. I don't know. Apparently voting for Kamala. See, this is the issue that I had is like a lot of the stuff functions like Ralph Nader functioned, right? Remember how Ralph Nader was sort of like a spoil sport with Al Gore? People who weren't satisfied with Al Gore and said that George Bush and Al Gore were the same thing voted for Ralph Nader, which is a noble thing to do. We understand. We understand why people want to do it. We want a third party. We want a real left. We want Bernie, right? The DNC does not want us to have that. They're corporate shills. They're Pelosi. She's insider trading. She sold all her fucking Nvidia stock way before. I saw the TikTok videos about it, okay? We're informed, okay? I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I do pay attention. And so I just judge things based on what I've fucking experienced. And what the hell was I talking about? Well, okay, so we were spoiled with Biden. People kind of took it for granted and thought, oh, fuck it. They're both the same. The DNC are genociding and fuck them. And maybe that is Neil Simon a Zionist? Where does Neil Simon stand? Was he hyper? He probably had a house there. Neil Simon probably had a fucking like Tarantino. He probably, I don't know. Do we know? Can we fact check that? Where did Neil Simon, was he pro-Israel? Not, I don't know. It's a complicated situation, issue. And it became a fashionable way to sort of become disenchanted. And that is a Republican campaign strategy. All they have to do is get the left dispassionate and disenchanted and splintered. And so it works with issues like this. With the Israel thing, right? I mean, the right wing, they're all pro-Israel. They all fucking go there and shit. All the Republican senators like go on these paid vacations there. They're the fucking Zionists. The Christian conservatives and the Zionists have a lot in common. They're the neocons. And they're the fucking people who committed a lot of it. Well, at any rate, somehow they managed to trick people into thinking Trump was like the peacenik, pro-Palestinian candidate, like he's wearing a fucking keffiyeh or something, which I just don't think that that's going to be. Everything I see is like, oh, these far-right Israel leaders love Trump's policy. Like that's not a great sign. That doesn't mean that can't mean good things for Palestine. Everything I'm seeing in these articles is far-right Israel leader comes out and loves what Trump is doing. And that, and it's like that can't be good. The die is cast. We're locked in the fucking room with Daddy and his belt and Mel Gibson, Secretary of Hollywood, Secretary of the movie industry, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, Stallone, John Voight. Where's Tom Hanks' cabinet position? How come Obama didn't give fucking Leonardo DiCaprio some kind of cabinet position, or goddamn Angelina Jolie, or Madonna? She adopted all those children from all over the world. She's a passionately, involved liberal, neo-lib. We own it. I don't even know nobody does. Now we are so super fucked. It's insane. Army helicopters are smashing into airplanes in the fucking sky. And I'm going to complain about it. People, go back and watch my live streams from 2020, okay? The vibe, that's the vibe shift. We've regressed. Vibe-tastically, we've regressed. Dude, I mean, are Gen Z people like, they just have cultural amnesia, or they were just like too young, so they just like were oblivious and were kind of invincible to the horrible. They don't really know what it was like. I don't know. Before, I guess they didn't really realize how dangerous and scary and just grim. What a downer! It was a real fucking. It was harshing our mellow. Even and so, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hysterical reactionary, but we have to fight these terrorist monsters. Now watch this drive, okay? How do we? I don't know. That's why I do this. This is a way of just exhuming the thoughts, getting it out, riffing. I'm riffing here. I'm pulling it out of my ass. I don't care. People fucking just now tuning in. If you go back and watch my old shit, I actually, I'm in the small minority a lot of times about like what I think. Like people were thinking it was going to be like this big fucking party. We're all just going to be listening to Village People, and he's on his iPad making a playlist, and we're all going to be invited to Mar-a-Lago. It's like, no. Only the tackiest, worst people with no principles. They're going to have a blast. It's going to be like, I don't know, American Psycho, Wall Street 80s. Met with like dystopian science fiction nerd, self fan fiction. Elon Musk kind of imagineering some kind of, like he's Kubrick or something. He's in the space program. There was, what the hell was I reading it? It was the Kevin Killian thing, the Amazon reviews. He was talking about modern day reality celebrities and how people talk about how empty and vapid that can be. And he was like, don't complain to me about celebrities that are just like all hype and don't mean. I mean, I'm paraphrasing like incredibly badly. But I'm from the 60s. We had astronauts. Which I'd never, because astronauts are so glamorized. They're like the best in the right stuff. Tom Wolfe, the right stuff. And we kind of look at astronauts like they're even, I mean, Tom Hanks, a lot of fucking Ron Howard, Apollo 13. There was so much fucking hagiography about the goddamn astronauts. And I don't know how I feel personally about astronauts. I guess I'm about to piss on them because I'm Debbie Downer. I'm Mr. Negativity. I'm the Grinch. There needs to be some goddamn negativity in our culture. Well, all these billionaires want to go to space, right? They're all that's their kind of like childhood dream that they want to realize in this kind of like really cringe, forced, control freak kind of way. It's like you're good at making Amazon warehouses and shit like that. Like, take off your fucking cowboy hat and leave outer space alone. Stop putting all, apparently Elon Musk has just like polluted the sky with all of these satellites and shit for Starlink and all this shit. They just let him do it. They just let him do it because they thought he was some kind of fucking super genius. And I guess the night sky is like so polluted with all of these fucking these satellites and shit. You can't even see the stars anymore. I mean, how poetic. You can't even see the constellations. They're blocked out with Elon Musk bullshit. Surprise, surprise. He took that away from us too. We hate that. We're projecting all of our fucking problems on the ultimate douchebag. The ultimate bag of shit. The neo-Nazi. The boy from Brazil. He's just like that movie, The Boy from Brazil. He's like this little Hitler clone. I wouldn't be surprised if he was made from like Hitler DNA. That's my Elon Musk. I'm going to spread misinformation. Now that you can apparently just say whatever you want. I'm not sure what YouTube, how they're changing their censorship policy, but apparently on Facebook and Twitter you can just lie your ass off about whatever the fuck you want now. You can just make up slander about people, and there's no accountability whatsoever. YouTube, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're still policing our speech. Have they reinstated Alex Jones yet? Apparently, Alex Jones is going to be in the White House. Or he's visiting the White House. I'm not sure if he's getting a cabinet position. It's possible. Trump wants to like pardon and give retribution to all these people that were sort of like beat up by the Democrats over the past few years, like the January 6th people. And so he's just sort of giving these like blind fucking blanket pardons. So it's like what if he pardons Alex Jones and shit? Gives, Alex Jones could be fucking, who knows, Secretary of the Interior, ambassador to Mars. Who's going to talk to the aliens? It's going to be Alex Jones, probably. Who can communicate? Who's been listening and paying attention and on that wavelength? That's Alex Jones. I get nervous when people are watching. I know I complain when nobody watches, but then I get nervous, and I think people feel that through the airwaves. I'm giving you a play-by-play of my inner insecurities, okay? Because this is a stream of consciousness for everybody. It's just more, I know everybody loves that Proctor stream of consciousness. It's my trademark, just verbal diarrhea, to use the disgusting modern way people communicate with each other in the Costco idiocracy. No health insurance, government freezing all the TSA people's salaries, firing the fucking safety nerds. It's Obama and Biden's fault, clearly. Clearly it's Obama's fault. Clearly it's Hillary's fault. You can't use Hillary as an excuse anymore. You beat crooked Hillary. It's Obama's fault. It's that fake American. It's that it's that African, it's that guy from Kenya, Obama's fault. This piece of shit. I mean, they're really going all out. I hope people are paying attention and are immediately. I mean, apparently Trump's approval rating is like the lowest of any president who's ever taken office. Because this is reruns. This is like when they brought Jay Leno back on the Tonight Show. This is the worst bringing somebody back since they brought Jay Leno back. This is like taking the Tonight Show away from Conan. And just, it's like it didn't work. So now we're forced with fucking 4 more years of goddamn horrible Jay Leno fascism. Jay Leno was the Mussolini of late night with his giant chin, his giant Italian Mussolini chin, and his Clinton blowjob jokes. That's all I remember. He was I don't know. I like Jay Leno in a weird way in his post Tonight Show kind of afterlife, where he's falling off cliffs and crashing and burning his face on his motorcycle oil and shit. I don't like that. I mean, that's horrible. Who knows what the fuck that's about? Is that a cry for help? I do think Jay Leno is some kind of like massy. Apparently, he likes getting spanked and shit. Not that that's a problem. Not that we're kink shaming Jay Leno, but maybe he likes getting burnt with his fucking scalding hot, uh, you know, uh, oil pan or whatever the fuck it is. Pour more radiator fluid on me, daddy. You know, I used to host the Tonight Show. I did it twice. I fucked over Conan. And look at Conan. Conan took the high road. He's like the Obama. You know, the high road is long, but the arc of justice curves apparently slightly upward. I don't know. That's what we're being led to believe. Maybe a fraction, maybe a slight fraction, not a whole hell of a lot. It's not a huge upward curve, Obama. It's like the curve of the earth. It just looks flat from here. Apparently it exists, but the arc of justice bends upward. I think about that quote all the time. I think we're plagued with that. That's why we try to take the high road. I mean, they should have just got the job done last summer. That's all I'm going to say. We'd be living in an alternate timeline with Kamala, President Kamala. And things would be relatively chill, I think. I mean, there wouldn't be airplanes crashing into Black Hawk helicopters, probably. But it's those goddamn Obama Biden hires. It's those DEI hires. As if someone is unqualified just because they're not a white male. And apparently the DEI policy includes like veterans, handicapped, you know, people who are disabled. There's a lot of things that qualify. It isn't just, you know, trans lesbian firefighters or whatever the fuck they want to, or whatever they want to portray it as. It's psychotic, man. If Kai Cenat, I mean, when Harmony Korine said Kai Cenat is the new, I forget which director they were saying. It wasn't Fellini, Rossellini, Godard. I don't remember. But his point was that streaming is the cutting edge of cinema. Okay, so there's this thing going around Tarantino, Film Bro, who's on Rogan podcast, so maybe he's probably a fascist in his own way. He's always been a fascist. He loves racism and violence in his films. He loves giving himself the part where he gets to say the N-word, the bastard. No, I mean, so I'm just kidding. I don't know. Fuck Tarantino. But he said 2019 was the last year of movies. Oh, well, it's Sundance, I guess, right? Sundance, this is like going to be one of the last Sundances in Park City. They're going to move it. I don't even know, but they're moving Sundance. I don't know how that works, but apparently they can do that. So Tarantino is there, and he's sort of an elder, you know, statesman at this point of the cinema. He's Orson Welles. He's Hitchcock. He's a blowhard. Orson Welles, he's not Orson Welles. He is what he is. We all know what the fuck he is. He's a Cinema Archive podcaster. Tarantino's really thriving in the podcast sphere because he loves jabbering, like me. And, you know, I mean, Tarantino, I think, is one of the last kind of pop cultural things where it was like there was something that was pretty highbrow, pretty evolved artistically, but was also like a zeitgeist type thing. Before digital, before I don't know, a lot more kind of like corporate tech, 9/11 surveillance, metadata control of everything. There was more magic, there was more kind of organic, nonverbal concoction, mystery. And he made things that seemed like, you know, perfect in their way or something. Like the culture was guided by that stuff, and the culture it had a vibe, the music. Tarantino, you can kind of picture the characters, the music, the Mr. Lou thing. And he said 2019 was the last year of movies, which I understand is his point of view from a guy who grew up going to the movie theater in the 70s, when you could see fucking movies for, I don't even know how much it cost, 50 cents or $1 or whatever the hell it cost. But the technology has shifted a lot, right? Like, I mean, I realize watching a lot of these movies are just like kind of revisiting film in a more deep way over the last couple years. How many movies I saw in fucking theaters? I did see a lot of movie in theaters. I guess even though I felt like I didn't really go to the movie theater that often when I was younger, I did see a lot of stuff in theaters. That's like, uh, I saw Sideways in theater. I saw The Good Shepherd in the fucking theater. I don't know, just a lot of stuff. Keeping the Faith or whatever that fucking, tons of shit. But it seems like it's less and less a part of people's lives because it's so fucking expensive. And we have so many. And so it's just such a dinosaur thing to say. And David Lynch, right, had the same point of view, which is if you watched a movie on your phone, you didn't watch it. You did not experience the film. And it is, and streaming all these fucking Neil Simon movies, it probably would be a lot different to see them in a movie theater with, a couple dozen other people or like a giant space. The screen is huge. A lot of people nowadays are in the sort of like fetishization of the physical object. They're like film, uh, ex- you know, snot. They're film like what's the word? Like they want to see on everything on 35 millimeter, or that's like preferential. It's like, oh, we saw Gremlins on fucking 35 millimeter print. Like that is and that's like a New Beverly thing, right? That's like Tarantino owns this fucking movie theater because he's just independently wealthy enough from his success and probably from fucking podcasting at this point. God knows what else. Probably franchising Alamo Draft House or something. But he shows and he owns. I mean, this is something he's sort of famous for, as well as like he has a screening room in his fucking house and he shows people. He has film screenings like of movie prints that he owns or borrowed from the studio or whatever. So he will have a bunch of people over to his fucking house in the Hollywood Hills or Los Feliz or wherever it is, into his screening room like he's fucking Jack Nicholson or Robert Evans, or people have probably been doing in Hollywood since time immemorial, since it began. They have these kind of private screening rooms. Now everybody in the fucking country has a screening room in their living room. Everybody's got a fucking projector, a flat screen TV. They can stream 4K. They've got some kind of super sound bar or something. They went to Best Buy and what the hell did they do with it? Okay. And they got, a home theater. It used to be like if you moved into some kind of like fancy, young, kind of like single person apartment complex with like a pool and a gym, that was like one of the amenities. It might have like a theater in the community theater, but it's like now everybody, you walk around the Village, everybody's got a fucking project. Even in tiny apartments, they've got a fucking projector TV. They're watching like sports on a fucking, small movie theater screen. So it's like if you go to Cinema Village on 12th Street, the screen's probably not going to be a whole lot bigger than your TV to some degree. So I don't know. I get what these guys are saying. Like it really is a shame that you used to even think about like these Neil Simon movies. It's like if you wanted to see these movies in the 80s or 90s, it's like you'd have to get the fucking VHS tapes somehow, or you'd have to find some kind of repertory screening, which like that used to be one of the advantages of living in New York, and you still kind of see the vestiges of it in things like Anthology or Metrograph or the Roxy. Is like, there used to be the New Yorker Theater, or there are all these art house, Bleecker Street Cinema, IFC now, used to be something else. New York still does have this kind of like thriving in-person, because it's a social event. It's like, I'm going to hold a premiere. I'm going to have a Q&A. Fucking a few days after David Lynch died, goddamn Justin Theroux and Naomi Watts showed up at IFC on 6th Avenue, right near McDougal and Bleecker, and did like a fucking Q&A introduction to the goddamn movie. It's like, that's pretty unique to be able to live in the proximity of shit like that. But it's also hella expensive. It's not like in the fucking 40s or wherever where it costs a nickel and you could just sit in a theater all day. Like, the technology has shifted, right? And now everything just, I mean, there is something to be said for the brain rot and just how like everybody, you just watch these like fun size micro videos on TikTok. But that's cinema. That's moving image. It's no different than a fucking Lumiere brothers. If you're going to count like Nickelodeon shit, like their Great Train Robbery, like that's cinema. It's like, well, so is fucking this. So is fucking TikTok. So is vlogging. I really do think vlogging is like the new indie film. I saw this article. It kind of infuriated me. I didn't read it, but it was like indie TV is now a viable. This is like the hot new thing in scripted content is indie TV. Is like, I guess Mark Duplass made some fucking series with his own money that was like an indie film kind of approach, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Shane Gillis, what is this show that is it called Tires or something? That was also sort of like an early example of indie TV, at least how they're in this current wave of how the trades are looking at it. Variety and all these fucking people, Hollywood Reporter, they have to chase whatever the buzzword is, wherever the kind of critical mass of attention and money is. It was prestige television, the golden age. Now people are going, what the fuck? We don't know what it is. Is it these big blockbuster movies? What the industry is shape shifting, right? It's streaming, but it's all these individual platforms tailoring the content for that, owning the brands, owning the intellectual property, and just whoring it out, making more toys, making more branded merchandise. Spaceballs, the musical. Oh my God, Mel Brooks, you're still alive. I think I just had $1 billion idea. Spaceballs, the musical. I think that's the one he's got to do next. He did Young and Frankenstein. I don't think that's the right one. You got to do Spaceballs, the musical. But indie TV, okay? The thing that's frustrating about this is I've been doing fucking indie TV since 2014, where it's like that was the whole idea behind Scenes from a Life, where it's like I'm going to make a personal diary, no budget, kind of like method theater, using life to script the dialogue, right? Like this new vlog I've got is like a Neil Simon. So it's like, Ashley and I have this interplay, this banter, or, there's tons of, and so it's like we just write the dialogue as we're interacting. It's something everybody does with their friends, right? I think that's what writing is trying to capture a lot of the time, is like the sound of the way we actually talk. And so why not just bottle it like it's a specimen? like you're David Attenborough, but also like you're Neil Simon. And so you're collecting these scraps of jokes and insightful nuggets of information and exposition and whatever, what have you, in sort of a catch as catch can, um, cinema verite, kind of like poor theater. That was an influence on it. The Grotowski approach. Not that I know really that much about fucking Grotowski, but I have the book Towards a Poor Theater, and it's sort of about having no fucking money and stripping things down to the essence of our being, using the body to sort of like create the effects. And I don't know, maybe you should script it and keep it on screen, but we had this unique opportunity with the technology to make indie TV, which is what we did and what we're doing. I mean, YouTube, what's more fucking indie TV than that? I mean, Hollywood, I guess, is coming to the realization where it's like, okay, we will just make limited series content for streaming, but we'll make it like, you know, they made Miramax films or whatever the fuck in the 90s, Gus Van Sant films. We will script it ourselves. It's like mumblecore, right? I mean, that's what Duplass is kind of known for. I guess in my life, that was the indie film movement, was sort of quote unquote mumblecore. And for me, Scenes from a Life was totally my version of mumblecore. And this is an appendage of that. This is sort of like the appendix, all the footnotes of the narrative, if you want to listen to the explanation and the Chaucerian kind of Canterbury tales of what went on beneath the picture book and the comic book story and the storyboards and the show don't tell. This is the literature, this is the novelization. This is the novelization of the movie based on my life, which is also like a theater experiment laboratory, using your friends and family, which everyone is doing, by the way. I was just a pioneer. Now everyone is like vlogging their childbirth and their, and they should, people should get footage of their loved ones. You're going to want to have it. You're going to want to have oral histories. You're going to want to have storytelling. Your kids are going to want to see that stuff. Your grandkids we should save that stuff we should save grandpa's fucking best stories for posterity, for future generations. Why? That's an unprecedented opportunity for us. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we try to get it all recorded and in color and high def? And I saw this fucking podcast Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family has, where he literally goes to real restaurants. It was him and Nathan Lane, and he sets up some kind of rig. It's probably hidden. It looks like it's sort of concealed or like small, but he literally just puts it on the fucking table while they're eating. He puts a microphone, they're both wearing mics, and it's just, it cuts back and forth because the cameras are kind of just like locked. But I'm like, this is the ultimate setup for this. I would love to have that setup where it's just like because it's like they're literally just eating dinner. Nobody else around even knows they're even doing it. It's not like some big film shoot with all these lights and shit. It's like they're just having a conversation over dinner, except they concealed cameras and microphones. So it's got kind of a, it's color. It's not a bad picture. The sound quality's like pretty, it's like this. It's like a USB or it's like a Bluetooth fucking lavalier. I'm like, there's just going to be more and more of that type of annoying. How are they going to legislate being an influencer? I don't know. But there's going to be more and more people live streaming and filming annoying videos and miking themselves and stealing footage of their friends and posting it online. I don't know. And Trump, I don't know. They seem a little bit more social media forward. Who knows how that'll play out? I guess you got to look for the silver linings. Maybe that'll backfire. They'll probably just be bad at everything. That's my prediction they're just going to destroy everything. Nothing good is going to happen for us. Even though it seemed like it might be that way when they were campaigning. So yeah, indie television. Scenes from a Life. That was my extremely low, but now everybody's fucking vlogging. To me, the tattered approach, that was what was radical. Including the kind of holes in life. Life has these lapses and kind of like jump cuts and break-offs and things you don't, you kind of tune in and out. You wake up in the middle of your own life and you go, how did I get here? Who am I? Where am I? Maybe I'll read some more fucking poetry. Is there more things I need to gripe about publicly? I mean, I guess I should talk more about Neil Simon plays. I know everybody out there is waiting for more of my hot takes on America's greatest playwright, Neil Simon. He's definitely in the top 10, right? The 10 greatest American playwrights. I mean, you got August Wilson, Eugene O'Neill, Mamet, of course, Annie Baker, Susan Laurie Parks, Paula Vogel. Who else? I think Neil Simon's in the conversation. He should be on the list. He occupies a special place. I don't know. It's also just like I guess, an ironic joke that I can get a lot of mileage out of, like Jim Belushi. I don't have actual wit, so I just use these kind of punchline. Frank Stallone type. This shit is so bad it's good, or I don't know. I think it's just been misidentified. That's like you're like rescuing these things, like with Ishtar. It's like Ishtar is not but it's funny because you love it so much. Huey Lewis was like that. I used to have a big Huey Lewis. I was a champion of Huey Lewis. I've seen Huey Lewis in the News 5 times in concert. And that was like, they don't tour anymore. In one of life's most cruel jokes, one of the cruelest things ever imposed upon the human race, Elon Musk is in charge of everything, and Huey Lewis can't play concerts anymore. He's got some kind of obscure, rare inner ear disease where, like, apparently he can't even listen to music. Like, if you put music on, like, Huey Lewis, like, glitches out. Or I don't know. It's like when the fucking visual, like, glitches out. Who knows what it sounds like? But it's just like he can't experience tone. So it's like, God damn. That's probably what he enjoyed more than anything, was, like, just going on tour and playing music. I myself saw him 5 times. It was definitely one of my favorite things, to just go to a good old Huey Lewis concert. I don't know why I was so into Huey. I guess because it was math. There's a Lou Welch thing there, right? Do yourself a favor. Look up Huey Lewis tribute to Lou Welch. Huey Lewis singing Graffiti. Graffiti! The Huey Lewis rabbit hole goes deep. He got a perfect 800 on his math SAT. So they know what they're doing, vibrationally speaking. Music is just math. And it's like, it's spatial. You kind of have you're immediately like making the calculations in your own mind. Well, and in your body too. Your body is like a tuning fork to the vibrations of what everyone is doing around you. And so when people play in harmony, it's like a way of balancing all of that stuff. And apparently humming is really good for you. I saw a TikTok video about it. I think it said something about like humming is like, I don't know, it's good for your health. People who hum, which would make sense because like when you're doing like meditation, you're supposed to go hum, you're supposed to hum. I think it breaks up. I don't know. The body's a resonator, as they taught us a lot in theater school and shit. Hum. And so it's good for you. Hum. It's good for you. Oh, God. What the hell else are we going to need to? Okay, maybe I'll talk about my new vlog. So, my new vlog, let me check in on it. It's bouncing right now as we speak. Okay, I'm like maybe 60% of the way there. So, I'm going to try to upload this today. Got a new vlog coming at you, covering the last 3 weeks, covering my birthday, the David Lynch tribute, Martin Luther King Day. There's a lot of nice, it's a weave. Just like my live stream sessions. It's a weave, everybody. You just got to keep listening. Things come back. There's callbacks. There's running themes, recurring characters. There's threads. It's a big tapestry, all of it. It's a weave. It's been a weave. Before this asshole stole it from us. Is Trump going to live stream? I mean, that's what his rallies are. Those are basically his streams. But they're in person and he's got an audience. I mean, that would be the goal. That's what's kind of exciting about doing the open mic on live, streaming it live. It's more like Saturday Night Live that way. Or this. I mean, this is a live show. I should mention is I am flying by the seat of my pants here. I don't even have a fucking script. I don't even have fucking cue cards, okay? This is so live. It's we don't know what we're going to do. That's how real it is. And that's the point. That pressure kind of forces the ideas out, forces thoughts to the surface. There's all of these things that I've been ruminating on, things I need to comment on, things I need to mention. Hopefully we get to all of them. I don't know. The notes, I don't really like having notes. So but I also don't want to forget, all the important topics that need to be touched upon throughout the course of this broadcast. Amateur news hour of the personal with yours truly. And so NDTV, everybody, it's about making your own. Isn't that a web? I thought that was a web series. Sounds like you just invented web series. They're rebranding it, I guess, because indie filmmakers. But I guess the idea being take the story you would tell in an indie. Hopefully there will be some kind of model for like mid-size content. That's what prestige television did. It's hard to believe that within the last 15 years, there were things of such high quality that were made as those shows, because everything has gone to shit as far as quality standards go in pretty much everything else in our society. But the fact that they were able to make a Sopranos and a Mad Men and a Breaking Bad and if they just created a marketplace for these kind of mid-budget ideas or even low-budget ideas, more human stories instead of some kind of giant science fiction spectacle that costs shitloads of money. That's another thing about these fantasy movies and science fiction is it's big budget, big box office. That's one reason why they want all these men to be goddamn fanboys, and women too. They want them to just keep pumping money into these giant franchises because it's easier for their business. These are like the corporations of creativity. It's like Marvel, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is like the fucking Costco of like intellectual content. It just or Star Wars. Star Wars is like fucking Amazon. It's just like, where are the mom and pops? Where are the Neil Simon mid-budget stories about a husband and wife or a newlywed couple or roommates? There were things like Girls, right? Lena Dunham or Broad City. Then the culture just started to get shitty sometime around when Trump got elected, probably because the tax laws changed and these corporations just doubled down on their shitty fucking intellectual content. Homogeny. The big fish eat the little fish. The big things just get bigger. Make more fucking Star Wars. Make more fucking Marvel movies. Every movie star, the only fucking movie you're gonna be in, you're all gonna be in fucking Marvel movies. You're all gonna be in it. Owen Wilson, fucking Kenneth Branagh, Natalie Portman. You're all gonna get into fucking Anthony Hopkins. Forget it. You're going to get swallowed up by the fucking Moloch, the Borg of creativity. And because it's money, they'd rather make $2 billion on a fucking Avatar movie or an indie game or Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever stupid shit. And then they can sell the fucking toys and get people endlessly. So it's a win-win-win for them. They get people paying attention to just bullshit that doesn't matter, squabbling over like endless details, these enveloping kind of fantasy universes. And then there's no real life in the movies at all. It's either like mafia shit. There's no Woody Allen movies. I know Woody Allen is a predator and all that, but like he made movies that were right where I'm talking about, $1 to $2 million, stories about real people, professors, writers, whatever, intellectuals, God forbid. Where are those stories? I saw they're remaking Matlock with Kathy Bates. I think that's a good move. I like that. I like that reboot. If you're going to reboot something, at least do something interesting with it. But Kathy Bates is a great actor. She's sharp. That'll be interesting. It's like Murder, She Wrote or something, That'll be, who knows? Maybe it'll work. So the corporations, just like with everything, they've pushed out all of the original ideas. They don't want original ideas. They don't want real food. They want to sell us the cheapest, shit where they can get the most overhead. Have AI make the goddamn movies. Get rid of the talent and their fucking ornery unions that they fucking like so much. And so maybe that's what indie TV will be. I don't know why people stopped making web series. I guess because they all started doing podcasts and like short TikTok videos. But, in the early 2010s, pretty much everybody who was interested in filmmaking was making like a web series. Everybody kind of had like a high maintenance style thing that they shot on DSLRs because DSLRs had just been invented. So you could get shallow depth of field for the first time ever and shoot on like a fucking SD card. You didn't have tapes and shit. So suddenly it was actually incredibly agile to shoot around New York. And, it was actually kind of quality content, some of it. This girl I was in a UCB class had a fucking show called Hot Mess Moves, which is still on YouTube. I thought it was really innovative. It could be on TikTok because all the videos are like short. They're not like long arcs. They're all like 45 seconds or a minute or a couple minutes. But she got some job writing for some fucking Hillary Duff show on fucking Nick at Night or something. And I don't know, do people still do that? I suppose they do, but it seems to me like everybody just puts fucking headphones on and a microphone and talks about Girls Rewatch podcast or whatever. Oh, we're doing a podcast about this fucking show that was on 20 years ago. We're just going to talk about every fucking episode. Even the people who used to be on shit are doing that. It's like, oh, Steve Sciarippa and fucking Michael Imperioli are hosting a goddamn Sopranos podcast. It kind of brought a lot of those people back into the spotlight, to be honest. Michael Imperioli wasn't getting a lot of attention until he started doing that Sopranos podcast. Or like Dana Carvey and David Spade, kind of the same thing. Dana Carvey was not really in the conversation. He was not on the horizon, really, of what anybody was paying attention to until he started doing that SNL podcast with David Spade. Now it's like, oh, fuck, now he's back on Saturday Night Live. He's playing fucking Biden and Musk, and he's not great, but it's good to see him back. I'll always love Dana Carvey, man. One of the all-time most hilarious guys who was ever on that fucking show. He should get more opportunities. So I don't know if there is such a thing as indie TV and people start doing that. I mean, my idea, feel free to steal this. The idea I had a long time ago was why not just make short movies for Instagram? Like make a minute long scenes that are shot like web series or like films with a DSLR with cinematic look. A lot of it on TikTok, it just looks like you shot it on your phone. It's like this. It's like you shot it in your apartment using, the fucking lights from Home Depot or whatever. Just the kind of whatever's there. I think that's been normalized. People are kind of comfortable with that, but it would be nice if there was more content that actually was content. It was like had a script, had characters, had, just like indie television. Why not indie social media posts? Why not indie reels? There's one comedian that does these really cinematic TikTok videos, and they get shitloads, hundreds of thousands of likes. You can tell it's shot on like a fucking red cam or something. And, it's amazing what they can fit into 30 seconds, like TV commercials. Commercials are only 30 seconds long. You can fit a lot. You can fit a whole fucking movie into 30 seconds. But most of the shit that passes for content is just rewatch podcast clips or crowd work videos with subtitles or clickbait. So if I ever get off my ass, and I don't know, it's also just more immediate, and you get things done when you just do it. When you make vlogs, when you write the Cosmopolitan Micro Diary kind of zine dispatches that I write, where you immediately print it. That's just a way of making sure that you finish it. When you're trying to come up with the right idea for a scene or a movie or something, it's like it's easy to be like, "Oh, that's not right," or "That's not right," or uh, do we really is that the story we really want to tell? What story do we want to tell? How, are these lines, it's like you can just endlessly revise things and edit things, and sometimes it comes out worse, to be honest. For me, I don't know. There's something about spontaneity, getting things right in the moment, and also preserving the rough edges of the kind of assemblage of how you just had to grab things as they were occurring in the magic of the real world, like we're fucking animals under the sky. Um, it's like if it worked in the moment, it's got something. It's got a little emotional charge in it. It's got a little energy ball in it, which is all, you've got to get that stuff into your art somehow. Your art has to be full of these little energy balls. Like the audience has to get some kind of energy swap with you. They have to be moved. And so there does have to be some kind of moment of discovery or lightning striking. You have to bottle that somehow. Um, it's really fascinating watching this David Lynch masterclass because you do learn a lot. The dude has a lot of wisdom, and not surprisingly, he's watching the scene from The Straight Story, and he's sort of talking about what he liked about it or what the actors are doing, and you're kind of seeing why he chose the takes that he chose. And he talks about this actor Richard Farnsworth, I can't think is his name, makes this noise. He makes this like inhale noise during the scene because he's reuniting with his brother. He drove his fucking tractor to get there and shit. And so during the take, he just let out this kind of animal, like kind of like sigh. And David Lynch was just like there was just so much in that sigh. It's like you can't get that on paper. That shit that you have to be like awake to, you have to be alert, and you have to be looking for that kind of stuff. That is the color. That is like he was absolutely right. It's something that like when you're watching it, you're not necessarily focused on that stuff, but um there's a world in that sigh. It's just like a portal into all of the experience and all of that the things that guy has had to go through to get to that moment. And so it makes it, that's what makes it sing. That's what makes it real. Um, I think working as a video editor and a videographer 10 plus years, you start to think about, now when I'm watching these films, I'm thinking about why did they use this take? It's like, was this the best take they had? Did they have multiple good takes? You can tell they cut here, or like you're starting to think about making a movie is hard. Just going out and getting even footage of what's on the page. Sometimes you're rushed. And even with extremely high budget movies, it's like a lot of times where they put the camera, it might be just sort of hasty or somewhat arbitrary. It's not always super thought out and controlled, and yet somehow the narrative still gets across. And I think you have to allow yourself those shortcomings or whatever when you're making, w- when you're trying to make a feature film or something. It's such a process, even just like capturing all of it, just even getting any footage of what's on the page. It's like it beats you up, and it's a job. And so I don't know. With the advent of AI and shit, right? A lot of what we're faced with is like getting rid of that part of the process. You know, when you're thinking about these movies in the 70s, it's like they had to have cranes. You know, if they wanted a shot of the city, they had to have a fucking helicopter. You know, it's not like now where a lot of these problems have been solved, and or like, now you got a gimbal in your fucking pocket or something. It's like I don't think cinema is dead at all. That's far from it. You know, cinema is proliferating. It's more powerful than ever. It's changing. And it is being debased or chopped up and sort of resized. And if you go to the fucking museum, like I was in the Met, we went to the Whitney, it's like the orientation, the frame size is constantly changing. Portrait is nothing new. CinemaScope is nothing new. It's been the standard for a while, but that doesn't mean it's not. And so now people are used to seeing vertical. I don't love it as far as like a storytelling thing, but there's certain things it's good for. And that doesn't mean cinema is dead just because they're not seeing fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on 70 millimeter in a fucking theater. Like, it's great if you can do that. And that I think that experience will probably always be with us, just like live theater, just like fucking poetry. Everybody's always saying this shit is dead. Oh, theater's dead, poetry's dead, movies are dead, music's dead. It's like that's not what I see with movies. I see movies happening everywhere all the fucking time, and maybe a 90-minute to 2-hour long scripted thing in that way, Hollywood style is shifting. That's the nature of technology. The technology always dictates the form that things are going to take, and people are always going to go for the newest thing. They're always going to go for the newest fucking thing. The newest, fastest, shiniest, most cutting edge thing. That's part of being in the media. Is just like you have to like Harmony Korine does. He's meeting it on its own terms. He's making movies out of video game footage and shit. And he's watching Kai Cenat in live streamers. He's not being like, cinema's dead. Apparently, Tarantino's going to write a play. That's his next thing. He thinks theater is the final frontier, man. It's like, dude, we've been out here. We've been out here with the live performances, you asshole. And I would watch a Tarantino play. I think it would be good. I think that's cool that he's doing that. I think it's good to go back to in person, but I don't think it's the frontier necessarily. It's one frontier. I think that's what's interesting about being alive and doing this right now is you do have a lot of avenues where if you're a self-starter, it's like, boom, you get on, do this. You can make indie TV. You can make vlogs. You can do stand-up comedy. You can film it. You can do a special, put it on fucking YouTube. It's like 30 years ago, you couldn't do a fucking comedy special of your own, really. No one, how would you get it to people? You'd like nobody knows who the fuck you are. Whereas like now it's like you can theoretically build an audience online, blah, blah, blah. So I definitely don't think cinema is changing. I think it's just you have to be aware and the screen size is changing. But I mean, if you fucking ride the train, every single fucking person or at least half the people on the train are watching goddamn videos on their phone. They're watching fucking TikTok on their goddamn phone or YouTube. Or I saw this guy watching fucking Bonanza. I was on the Q train. This guy was literally the opening credits. I think it was Bonanza, which is the one where the map burns. There's like a map, and then the map lights on fire, and that's like Bonanza. Down, 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 down. Is that Bonanza? Or is that Gunsmoke? I mean, granted, that's a 60-year-old fucking show, and so maybe in that sense, cinema is dying, but I think that's part of what's exciting about I don't know, being an artist. I mean, look at how Neil Simon embraced the different. He had TV shows, he had films, he had plays. Um, why not do all of it? Why not try to um fire on all cylinders and have maxed out dialogue, maxed out cinematography, maxed out sound design, like fucking Eraserhead, maxed out soundtrack. Fucking David Lynch, Lost Highway. He's got 9 Inch Nails in the fucking soundtrack. He was getting the most cutting edge artists. Marilyn Manson is in the fucking movie, right? He wasn't like, oh, we need to get fucking, Bobby Vinton or whatever, or Frankie Avalon or whatever shit from the 50s. He was like, what's the most rock and roll shit now? Or like Wild at Heart. It's like the movie isn't scored with like Elvis songs, it's scored with like thrash metal. I don't know what bands it is, but he wasn't necessarily like totally a nostalgic. He was able to see the good and the new in what was happening at the time. He was, like how Twin Peaks: The Return, every episode ends with a band playing, like the fucking Roadhouse or whatever. And so he's getting like these young current bands. I don't know who they are, but I think they're cool. I used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what it is frightens and confuses me. I mean, even when I was 12, I was like, Marilyn Manson, that shit's too nuts for me. I don't like it. It's like the Puff Daddy for white people. That shit all happened at the same time, like Puff Daddy and Limp Bizkit and Marilyn Manson. I was just like, this is bad energy. He just got found not guilty or something. He just got let off the hook. Part of the zeitgeist. That was something David Lynch said that was interesting in his master class. He was talking about how when he's trying to come up with ideas or coming up with ideas, he's like, there's some other thing that you have to be in tune with to make sure something's working or it's right. And the interview's like, well, what is that? What is the other thing? And he's like, you might call it like the zeitgeist. I don't think he wanted, it wasn't exactly the zeitgeist, but I thought it was kind of interesting to hear him mention that as sort of a consideration, that he was not necessarily that he was referring to like the cultural zeitgeist as much as some kind of like spirit or something, maybe spirit in the room. Although I don't know, there is some kind of like humanity collective decision making that sort of we all go through and guides our experience, like a vibe shift. We all experience a vibe shift kind of at the same time. And it does have a lot to do with who the president is and what their policies are. Unfortunately, it has a lot to do with that. But it's also like we're defining ourselves, we're feeling it, we're picking it out of the air almost. You notice somebody wearing a certain thing, you say, that's cool, maybe I'll do that. Like these glasses. Suddenly a lot of people, I saw fucking who's the guy? Chris Hayes from MSDNC. He was on Colbert. He's wearing like these Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, what people call them. I didn't buy them because they're Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. I just like the kind of plastic, big 70s frame. Like they're my show business, 70s former Borscht Belt comedian glasses. But now more and more people, and it's like, well, why did people start wearing these glasses? It's like, well, there's a lot of reasons. It's an economic thing, the economics. Like we are living in this moment that's like the 70s or something in a weird way. The way that there's inflation, disco is back, or he's listening to fucking YMCA. So these glasses are kind of 70s. I don't know. There's just by it's an uh, uh, accumulation of all of these factors, And New York City is kind of the home of the zeitgeist, or it's one of the homes, one of the kind of factories. You're just you see so many people publicly. There's so many people that are kind of sifting and mixing and kind of mingling in a non-verbal way, witnessing each other, what they're wearing, how they're dressing, how they're moving, music. You overhear music everywhere you go. So you might hear some news, if you're in a club, whatever, somebody might ride by playing a certain song. You overhear speech, slang, you overhear what young people are saying. There's kids going to school on the train. And so, we're all paying attention to that stuff. I pay a lot of attention to it. I don't know. I'm fascinated by it. Things like Big Justice and The Boom and Rizzler and shit. I don't know. Maybe most people don't care. They're sort of blissfully ignorant. But I like go after that stuff because that's the zeitgeist, or I don't know. That's kind of like a way that we're communicating to ourselves what's happening. It's almost unconscious, I feel. It's almost like most of the public just knows that it's right from like an intuitive place, but they're not necessarily like intellectually being like, oh, well, we're enacting the 70s because of the political circumstances. We had this sort of Nixon Carter thing, and Jimmy Carter just died, and so you're feeling those things out as well. What's contemporary, and I guess that is a herd mentality or something. I don't know. Even cool people do that. Cool people all kind of move in unison and decide like, oh, this is what we're going to wear. This is how cool people kind of identify themselves. They all do the same thing, but like in this niche way. They're all, X, Y, or Z cultural signifier fashion thing. Like for me, for my era, it was American Apparel, V-neck, skinny jeans, having an emo swoop haircut or something, having some kind of star tattoo. I don't know. I never did any of that shit. You want to be timeless and contemporary somehow. All the greatest artists are able to do all of it. They can be popular and genius. They can be timeless and of the exact moment, like Murder Most Foul, right? When he dropped Murder Most Foul, I was like, holy shit. This song about the Kennedy assassination doesn't really. That's what they're talking about when being in touch with the zeitgeist. Like Bob knew there was some crazy weather on the horizon. He could just feel it, almost like how animals can feel when it's going to rain. They all go in the bathtub or whatever. They hide. They can feel the thunder and the static electricity in the air. Gathering, formulating. If you're perceptive, if your pheromones and your senses, your sense of smell, you can sense that, you can suss that stuff out. You can just feel it in the air. The storm's coming on. And so he wrote Murder Most Foul, I'm pretty sure before the fucking pandemic or anything. And then when did he drop it? Right at the beginning of lockdown. It was just crazy. It was just absolutely crazy because it just had so many resonances with his earlier career, all of those powerful songs that were written during the Kennedy administration, the missile crisis. Bob's initial masterpieces were written in the shadow of Kennedy and the Kennedy assassination in a way. The fear of that moment, the paranoia of that moment. That's one thing the movie I thought captured nicely was the craziness of the environment of that night that he may have written A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall or whatever. And so to do it again 60 fucking years later in sort of eerily history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So you have to be a poet to understand what's going on. Whoever's writing the great play of human history is the master poet of all of us. writing the ultimate witty rhymes of experience. And that's what I'm trying to capture in my vlogs, to be honest. I'm trying to capture the great spirit writing. And we're collaborators, I guess. We're puppeted by astrology, but we do have some sort of free will. If we can muster up the courage to act on our convictions, we can co-write the story of our lives and be co-dramatists with the non-binary being upstairs. the one of infinite genders, of all genders, the omnigendered being upstairs. All one, all things, all beings, all races, all everything. And so it's sort of about decoding that or figuring out what the fuck is going on, reading the signals, reading the braille. And trying to cram it through show business common sense language for mass production, for big business, for them to sell on DVDs at Walmart like it's Dane Cook Tourgasm, to all the fucking bros and sorority marriages that are happening out there. What are the kids doing these days? Go Bucks, national championship. Woo, I should talk about that. You know, we won the football championship. You guys all lost. You're all losers. We are the supreme victors of 18 to 22-year-old football players. Okay, so how is history rhyming right now? We're seeing it. I mean, it's literally a rhyme with this fucking Trump coming back and taking the Tonight Show. Trump Jay Lenoing the presidency. We thought he was gone. We thought we got rid of him. We thought Gen X was finally going to have a president. Gen X Conan was going to be, you know, the leader of the entertainment world. He's a good man. Conan's a good person. But, I mean, if you want to look somebody that's been able to change with the times and with the formats, it's amazing how entrenched people get in their own formats. You know, it's like you've got to be willing to adapt. If you look at the all-time greats, people like Bob Hope or Sinatra or whatever, it's like they wanted to be in the newest thing. They wanted to be on TV. They were on everything. They were on radio, TV, live. They were in movies. It's like, why not do fucking all of it and get into all the spaces? Get on podcasts, get on live streams, get on fucking gaming. I need to do just some kind of gaming live stream. Maybe then I'll fucking get some audience. How do I bring poetry to the gamers? How do we occupy, you know, Fortnite or what the hell, Roblox? What are kids playing these days? I don't even know. There should be some kind of like poetry reading in GTA. You know, it's like they're doing Hamlet in GTA. That's like some kind of, that's like the frontier of theaters. We did Uncle Vanya on The Sims. We did Hamlet in GTA. It's like, well, why don't we do a poetry reading on GTA? Why don't we do a poetry reading on fucking Halo 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever fucking Halo or Call of Duty? I played Call of Duty. I was a conscientious objector. I put the controller down and I just read my poetry to all the mass murderers in training. Listen to the poetry, you fucking violent, bloodthirsty. You're being desensitized through like the ultimate stimulation. I mean, video games are completely overpowering. They're magnificent. Don't get me wrong. They're incredible. Visually, they are probably the cutting edge. That's why we have to read our poetry there. We have to occupy these. The thing I like about the Kevin Killian Amazon book is like this. It's a lot like this. He covers a lot of different, he'll write about movies, so you get to see his thoughts on movies. And they're short, it's like you can sift through it. It's just like bonbons. It's like a box of chocolates. Everything's about a page or something, 400, 500 words, but it's very well written. So he'll talk about pop culture stuff, uh, you know, everyday products, but then he'll talk about esoteric poetry stuff. He'll talk about Aaron Shurin or Robin Blazer, or he'll review, and so you get his opinions. And so it's also a book of poetry criticism in kind of a sly, um, détournement kind of way, subverting the megalith, the Goliath, but also supporting his friends. Their book would come out, he'd write a positive review on him, and the book is it's heavy and it's thick. It looks like a fucking it's bigger than a modern or Library of America edition. It's kind of patterned after that as sort of a joke, but also not really a sincere, ironic joke about, these things are kind of throwaway and plastic and corporate. It's Amazon reviews. They're short. They're kind of, it is like a ghetto or sort of like a bastard form. It's kind of a campy, or it's like a send up, or it's an occupation, but it's also sincere. I mean, he wrote a shitload of them, and he spent a lot of time doing it, I'm sure, and they're well done. And so, it's a potpourri of a lot of different kind of delights, and that's what I try to do with this. I try to cover a lot of different, I can talk about poetry stuff, Kevin Killian, Amazon reviews. And I mean, what could be more relevant than this company that's just swallowing up all of commercial real estate? I mean, there is no brick and mortar, at least not so much. Everybody just having Amazon Prime shit, I mean, delivered to their door. Or, they're going to Whole Foods using their Prime account. They're whatever it is. The guy just keeps getting richer and richer. And the way he is pioneering this kind of new technique of worker exploitation, the way that Amazon treats their workers is really unbelievable. And it's cruel and unusual. There should be massive, massive lawsuits about the standard that they're setting, the culture that they are inventing and normalizing for just like how businesses are allowed to treat their workers in the advent of complete surveillance while you're at work. They know where you are. They know how long shit takes. They can track you through GPS, and they are. If you're not getting shit done, you have this much time to go to the bathroom. I don't even know if you get a break or whatever it is. And they expect you to like move. It's like Modern Times with Charlie Chaplin. The machine is just like, it's like, he's like, whoa, I need a fucking break. And the machine is just like, no, you're supposed to do it this fast. We're just caught in the fucking mechanics of this fucking thing that's going to steamroll us. So check out my new vlog, everybody. It's premiering. I didn't get any of my performance in there, which I'm kind of upset about. I don't know. But it's got a lot of nice poetic moments. It's got snow. It's got Minetta Tavern. It's got Bemelman's. So there's a lot of swanky, vicarious local color. It's chapter 3. It's our Neil Simon movie directed by Sofia Coppola, starring Bill Murray's personality grafted over my SNL greatest hits tapes. Created my personality. The Simpsons references. Okay, so yeah, what are we going to do about it, people? We're just going to keep streaming. We're going to keep spitting truth. We're going to make indie television. We're going to make indie television history. I think it's a great idea. If every TV show started to be like a Gus Van Sant film, I think they're able to do that because of the technology. Because you can make everything's 1080p or 4K now, you can have television shows that have kind of landscapes and just kind of like aesthetic spectacle where you just watch things. If you television before the resolution was so low, they had to keep you hooked with the verbal. So everything was dialogue driven, everything was sitcom, joke, 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 even drama. It's like they're sitting around talking the whole fucking time because that's how they could hook you. Now it's like Breaking Bad. They have a lot of, or I don't even know what the fuck they're doing now, but the cinematography on television, they didn't even have fucking cinematography back in the 70s. It was very pragmatic the way that they produced it. So if television becomes a place where, and especially if people are just doing their own ideas, I mean, that's the idea with indie film, is just like commit your vision, tell a personal story about real human beings and make it cool. I don't know what happened to the fucking Gus Van Sant movies and My Own Private Idaho and Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. And there was a whole, or even things like that, like Luke Wilson Tenure movie. He's just like, it's kind of a crappy indie movie about he wants to be a professor, an English professor, but it's like, it's interesting, sort of. I'd rather see Luke Wilson in that and David Koechner and Gretchen Mol than like, oh, well, see him get sucked up into fucking the Thor movies. And that's fine. That's what movies have been, but like, it's just another indication of wealth inequality in the strategies of deregulation, stock buybacks, pleasing the shareholder. And everything is just for shareholder value. It's not about quality at all. And so the movies, are for that. It's just like invest in BlackRock. BlackRock owns the fucking studios. They say this is how it's going to be. We're going to keep churning out these, algorithmically guaranteed market researched. Fuck market research, Fuck what the audience thinks. Bottle Rocket got the lowest test scores of any movie, I think, in the history of them doing market research. It's like people are going to reject anything that is new, and it's not a quantifiable thing. Art is not like a committee consensus, like, oh, we didn't like this part, take this part out. It's like, it's more interesting. Like, I like the Kurt Cobain Last Days movie. It's an interesting film. The technique is interesting. There's nice cinematography. I'd rather watch that than the fucking Bohemian Rhapsody paint by numbers biopic. Or Complete Unknown, for that matter, which was not interesting as a film at all. It was like, the intention of it seemed to be, we want Bob Dylan, Ray, Walk the Line, Oscar. That's like a genre. It's well known. They've been lampooning it for a long time. These music biopics are like, they wanted the cliche, basically. Bob said, give me the cliche. I got the esoteric avant-garde Gen X, I'm not there bullshit with Richard Gere. Give me the cliche. Personally, I think Chalamet looked more like him without the fucking nose. When I saw him on Saturday Night Live, I'm like, he looks more like Bob now. His eyebrows, and why did they put that fucking nose on him? Why did they, Leonard Bernstein biopic, put a nose on Bradley Cooper? It's like, goddamn, his nose is already big. It feels anti-Semitic to me. Just because they're Jewish doesn't mean you need to put some kind of Oscar went bait nose. It's like he looks more like Dylan just how he is. That nose looks ridiculous. It looks like they slapped a ball of fucking silly putty on the bridge of his eyebrows. Neil Simon, everybody, greatest American playwright. I'm doing everything I can to keep this stuff alive. My new vlog, chapter 3. It's got some beautiful paintings in it. Pizarro, just like California Suite with all the Hockneys. All right, I'm going to do 10 more minutes. What the hell else do I need to talk about? Thank you for spending your Friday afternoon on Scenes from a Life. We're just trying to occupy all of your waking, living, breathing, watching time. I want you on Matt Proctor content 24/7, 3. I want you to not be able to sleep because you just want to see more. Go back and watch the old live streams. Now that Trump got reelected and he's back in the driver's seat, go back and watch. If you watch my live streams from the pandemic 2020, I think they hold up. I know it seems like I am like a weakling and I'm sort of timid and I'm not really sure what I'm talking about, but I'm right about a lot of this shit. That's what, you're in the minority and people don't believe you. If you're actually on to what they're doing, when what's happening, no one believes you. There's a lot of money spent on propaganda, creating mass manufacturing consent. And so if you have an unpopular position that no one else has figured out, it's like that thing. My dad, when he was a kid, he tells us a story about when he was a young kid, they went to the La Brea tar pits and they asked the kids, this is going to sound really, they asked the kids what modern animals did they think were closest descendants to dinosaurs, which, your average person would probably think reptiles, right? Or lizards or whatever, because they look like dinosaurs, right? If you just look at them, that's kind of how people think about politics. Most people think, oh yeah, that and that. So that's what it is. Fuck the facts. Fuck, any kind of like thing that seems counterintuitive or seems like that can't be right. It's clearly it's lizards because they look like dinosaurs. They're scaly. They have fucking the same heads and whatever. But actually, if you've seen Jurassic Park, I guess you know this. And my dad was the only person in the whole fucking class that guessed this. I don't know how, but he guessed birds, right? It's birds. Birds are the closest thing we have to dinosaurs. Even though they have feathers and they fly and they're not fucking Tyrannosaurus Rexes, they don't. Somehow he knew that. That's what it's like. I don't know. That's what it feels like to be me. It's like every kid in the class is going, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking. Why would I watch these live streams? He's beating around the bush, or he's not getting to the point, or he's not like just nailing it. He's spending half his live stream just complaining about how nobody, how he's not, how he's not famous. And this is why. Because it's like being a poet's poet or a comedian's comedians. It's like, that's why you come to, I don't know, you're in the core of the core. So it's like, it's our responsibility as New York artists to be, honed in more than mass opinion, mass culture, general even though I love Neil Simon movies, trying to rescue them from obscurity. That's part of my genius, is rediscovering these things. There's good values in there. Like I said, what's Neil Simon's position on Israel? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Did he have an estate there? What's the deal? Tarantino does. Tarantino like lives in Tel Aviv part of the time, so I don't know if that affects how young hip people consume his content, but do people actually put their money where their mouth is? Do they even know where their mouth is? Or they're just repeating something they just learned 5 seconds ago? Probably that one. You know, being political got caught up with being trendy in 2016 when Trump got elected. Suddenly it became important. But then that kind of split off and just became a trend that really didn't want to engage politically. I mean, I guess they are political, but like, what good does it do you in this country to put these people back in power, you know, or act holier than thou to the process and just not be strategic about it? You know, it is, you have to make the best move for yourself. They twisted the narrative, or I guess it remains to be seen. It does remain to be seen what's going to happen in these wars. We don't know. Or what would have happened if Kamala would have gotten elected. We don't know. Would we be in World War III by now? As the right-wing comedians seem to think, the right-wing comedians that are the policymakers and the voices who hold real power in this country. We just need to steal from the manosphere. We need to convert people. We need to take, instead of watching Rogan, instead of watching, I don't know, where do you even watch this shit? Do you watch Andrew Schultz on YouTube? Are people really keyed into that stuff? Or people can't wait for the next Theo Vaughn, I guess. I guess it's true. Or Adam Friedland, or any of these fucking mid right-wing shills. Wait for the new scenes from a live stream to drop. Okay? Wait till this fucking drops. Food for thought, everybody. That's what it is. It's just, here's some possibilities for you to consider while you make your own. I mean, you can't change people's minds politically. I don't know. It's with Trump, I guess it just became more and more normalized, and we got on the wrong side of his charisma. The weekend before the election, we watched Trump on Rogan, and we watched the fucking Apprentice movie because it seemed like harmless. Like I said, his campaign, the fangs were not really out. I did watch some of Trump's rallies and shit just to see what he was saying, and I remember it being crazy. But I don't really remember it being like, we're going to invade Greenland and we're going to invade the Panama Canal and, the rhetoric about DEI seems like it's kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I'm sure he was bitching about that, but like now it's just like this punching bag in a really disgusting way. In the same way that he calls, the way he talks about migrants is just completely dehumanizing. And, people think it's just like a comedy routine, but it's like, what? He's really going to build a facility for 30,000 people at Guantanamo Bay? That sounds really fucked up. That sounds like a concentration camp to me. I don't know what other people would call it, but 30,000 people in a jail on their fucking ethnicity, that's a concentration camp. And, people just thought it was like, okay, he's dancing around the YMCA, and Elon Musk is, giving money to people. And even Fetterman is like, I don't like Fetterman. I mean, I am sympathetic, right? I think anybody who's watched my live stream knows that I weigh things pretty fairly And I do uh foolishly, I'm willing to take what they say pretty much at face value, sort of, even though Trump is a known liar. You know, the reason why it's bad that he's a liar because he can do shit and say, like, hey, we're not going to genocide the Palestinians, and then get in office and go, oh, wait a minute, never mind. We're actually going to do whatever the fuck we want and fuck you, which is who he is. We know who he is. I mean, the first time they didn't really get away with any kind of mass. I don't know. I guess people are evaluating him on that, but they also didn't get away with shit because people fought back and there were still checks and balances in place. Now it's like the Supreme Court has pretty much given him immunity. They have the House, they have the Senate, blah, blah, blah. Like he thinks he has a mandate. So he might get to enact some of the really ugly, bad shit that maybe he tried to do the first time and they were like, get away, Donald. You can't cancel Medicaid. Fuck off. Don't touch that. You know, and then they got him out of there, luckily. It was such a tremendous relief. And it was a vibe shift in the zeitgeist during the Biden era. Things have been chill. People have been able to recongregate, and it hasn't been super militant politically. You can bring people together again because things kind of chilled out. You know, people weren't super high strung and strict about, and that was why the reason why people were policing, they didn't know what else to do. We needed to feel like we had some kind of control and that we could fight back somehow. And so if that meant pronouns and fucking whatever the hell, woke, that was what people did, you know? And to be honest, it kind of worked. It wasn't, or I don't know, like maybe it was performative. I don't know. There needs to be some kind of coalition. There needs to be some kind of solidarity. Now, people like AOC, who is it going to be that's going to fight back? Who's going to be the face of that? We have to do it. We do have to formulate some kind of new identity or new, they have Trump, they have JD Vance, they have this perception that they're Bitcoin bro, billionaire fucking douchebags. And they're cool. They've got Red Scare on their side. It's cool to be MAGA. I mean, Giuliani was the mayor. Fucking Bloomberg was the mayor. All these people live here. Roy Cohen lived in New York. Fucking like, there has always been big time Republican fuck faces in New York. It's not anything new. Like, people want to act like, oh my God, there's MAGA people in Manhattan. It's like, there's always been fucking right wing pieces of shit in New York City because there's extremely wealthy people here. So hopefully people will wake up, see the policies. I mean, I guess we've cried wolf so many times they can just kind of dismiss anything else. That's just liberals overreacting. Oh, so what that? Oh, yeah. So what that he's building this camp? So what that this plane crashed? So what? You know, now these motherfuckers are going to see what it's like to actually take responsibility. You can run your fucking mouth on Twitter all day, but now Elon Musk has stepped in this position where it's like, okay, people are going to blame him for shit. And they're going to, he is going to, sadly and crazily, he's going to be in charge of decision making for big operations. And so he'll blow it just like he did with Twitter and just like his shitty cars, just like his shitty tunnels, and every piece of shit he builds and touches turns to shit because it's all fake. It's all just rich people money laundering, like every fucking thing in our culture. They stole all of the goddamn money and they just cycle it through their fucking children and through their fake businesses. All the stock market is like these various kind of cults. Okay, my vlog is finished. My vlog has come out of the oven. It just popped up, everybody. So I'm going to start uploading that soon. And I'm going to get moving pretty soon, get ready. Maybe I'll go to 4 o'clock. It's all fake. Everything in our world is fake because all of the money was fake and unearned, and they just put money it's like now you can't have a business unless you already have money. There's no way you will make it. I guess even these apps and shit, they need angel investors or whatever. They're unicorns, these fucking finance investor cocksuckers are looking, it's a full-time job. They're looking for these unicorn fucking companies to invest in. And so all of the stock market is like, we all put our money on this horse. And that's why it's worth, it's really at this point, it's just like a vote of confidence that these guys can be led to believe, like, okay, this AI or Tesla is it's gonna solve all our fucking problems, our energy problems. And so we're all rich guys. We're all in the same class. We all hang out with each other. We all have to believe this kind of cult leader. Elon's a genius, CEO genius. His everything that he stands for, we all have to believe in it because we're little versions of that and we want to be little versions of that because it cuts our taxes. And we all own Teslas because that's like a way of indicating that we're in the club. They're not thinking. These are the richest fucking people. These are supposed to be the smartest people, and they're not. They have no fucking brains. They have no fucking critical thinking skills. They just think, oh, Tesla, that's what everybody's buying. We're all going to put our money into that. That's why it's worth a fucking $1 trillion or whatever the fuck it's worth. Not because it actually has any goddamn value. They are all just believing in the hype and in the cult. And the same thing with the fucking AI. It was just like all of the cult of these financiers and investors, people who just travel around eating nice dinners on fucking yachts and helicopters. And all they do is, move money around on their phone, or they have people that do that for them. They took all their money out of this Nvidia thing because the truth about it, their ass showed a little bit. And they went, wait a minute, maybe we are getting ripped off. Maybe this thing is bullshit. They pulled their head out of the sand for 2 fucking seconds. And they think everything is going smoothly because they're all billionaires and they all have fucking super yachts and they're going to go to Mars. They don't really see what's going on with the rabble and the people that can't afford rent. We're all homeless. Why are they homeless? Because they're losers. They won't work. We need to put them in jail. Bulldoze these fucking tent cities. Put these criminals in jail. They're all drug addicts. Maybe if they were winners, they would have started some kind of predatory fucking app that just like exploited all of the fucking worker. Got rid of every mom and pop. So where are the mom and pop filmmakers? Okay. I guess they're TikTok and fucking that. Well, that's part of Harmony Korine's point, right? Is the cinema has morphed. So I think we're beyond indie TV. I wish they'd monetize my goddamn vlogs. My vlogs are like Gilmore Girls. If you like Gilmore Girls, watch my new vlog, Chapter 3. The sequel, the long-awaited sequel to the Neil Simon classic with James Caan and Marsha Mason. Chapter 3, a Neil Simon film. Directed by Greta Gerwig. It's a mumblecore. These Neil Simon films are like mumblecore. That's all they are. They're dialogue driven. They're very like, I don't know. They're like low intensity visually. Like they're very pleasing. They're like paintings. They're still. You get to see all these nice New York apartments from the 70s when the apartment in The Goodbye Girls, $200 a month. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. So the plot is the guy sublets it from Chicago. He doesn't even live in New York. He's in some fucking play in Chicago. Some guy sees him and hires him to do Richard III at the Public. So he sublets an apartment in New York for $600 for 3 months, which I looked at the IMDb page. It said adjusted for inflation, the $200 a month for that apartment today would be $814 or something. So something has gone very wrong because in actuality, that 2-bedroom apartment near 71st and Broadway or whatever, wherever it is, Amsterdam, near Central Park West, I'm sure it's at least $3,000 or $4,000 a month. You know, so that is why I harp on this like I'm fucking Ralph Nader, consumer watchdog, consumer advocate, because we are getting so incredibly screwed and it is killing the vibe. This is why we can't have nice things because it costs too goddamn much. We are getting so fucking ripped off by the tech people who are managing all of the property through their fucking phones. You know, when BlackRock and Vanguard, the problem is not necessarily that they're buying all the property, although that is the problem. The problem is when they buy the property, they apply these management strategies that are like the Borg. They have these giant management companies, and they use the algorithm. When BlackRock invests in a property, the first fucking thing they're going to do, that's why they're buying the property. Because the algorithm, I don't even know why or how, but it somehow vindicates them and justifies them raising the rent on everybody by like twice. So it's like something that used to be a mom and pop landlord, a 2-bedroom house might cost $600, $700, $800 in most of the country, most of not big cities. Now that is owned and managed by BlackRock or Vanguard or whatever the fuck it is, Larry Fink or Jared Diamond or whoever. You know, these people should all be ritualistically neutralized. There should be a game show. We should put them on some kind of Running Man style Hunger Games. Take all of the CEOs, all of the billionaires, drop them in the Kentucky wilderness with crossbows or whatever. Let's see how genetically superior they are then. And battle to the death. Like, what's that Ray Liotta movie where he's like on an island and they're all trying to kill him? Do that with Zuckerberg. Take Elon Musk, helicopter him onto some island in the Indian Ocean, and let's see how much of a badass he is then. And so they set it by the algorithm. They go, okay, the algorithm tells us this should be $1,300 a month or $1,800 a month or $3,500 a month. That's the market value according to the computer. We asked the computer. It's a computer. This is just some old guy who owns the place. He doesn't know what the fuck it's worth. He's not conferring with 800 other price points in the area and similar blah, 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 blah. Square footage and bedroom and whatever the fuck. Who the fuck knows what is in the algorithm? Nobody knows. The algorithm is whatever the fuck they want to put in it. The algorithm is, oh, we want to tweak it this way. We want to tweak it so you have to see all of JD Vance's tweets. That's the algorithm now. You have to see every fucking JD Vance Instagram post because, oh, it's the algorithm. The algorithm just decided that you're going to see Jordan Peterson videos instead of seeing some real life videos. The algorithm likes bro content. We don't know why. Why does the algorithm like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and all these meatheads and Two Bears, One Cup or whatever it is? Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. Why? The algorithm loves these fat fucks, these fat drunken idiots. We don't know why. It's because it's people have applied like this free market illusion to everything where it's like, well, more people clicked it, more people watched it. They watched longer. The sponsors like it, is the fucking truth. There's some money behind it. They want you to watch dumb, beer-bellied fucking morons. They don't want you to watch anything that's going to tap into some pre-described opinion. They want to silence us, you know? They want to silence our truth. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We had a blast. Hopefully, I think we covered some important things. We are going to be taking these motherfuckers to task every step of the way. You know, the first Trump administration, I really wasn't live streaming until the pandemic. I started summer 2020. So I was live streaming the first 6 months. That was part of the reason why, was just to respond on a day by day, case by case process to all of the misinformation in the media and shit. And to try to set things straight, or just even just figure out what was going on, to just reason, to just, like I said, I'll weigh things out. Like, what does this mean? What actually happened with this air crash? Is it DEI? Give me a fucking break. Who believes that? He's senile. There's nobody that believes that. Who out there, that was their first conclusion? Is these DEI air traffic controllers that Obama hired. You're out of your fucking mind. Passing the buck. Pointing the finger. And so we're in a new era. I think we all can see the new dark ages have descended. Now we really are probably going to World War III. Like I was saying, the Europe American access, that was like the post-war kind of stability. And America was the bad guy, right? Who overthrew all the governments and did all the bad shit. But they want to split that apart. Trump wants to take us out of that. He wants to take us out of NATO. He doesn't want us to defend the Ukraine. They have to fend for themselves, the Europeans, or they have to pay us, or whatever the fuck it is. And it's really just a way of giving Putin what he wants, which is, who knows? Does he want to invade Europe? Who the fuck knows? I mean, that's what the Ukraine is. He already kind of has invaded Europe, right? Ukraine is sort of the European democratic American style part of Russia, or whatever, the EU part of Russia. And so, I mean, Europe is afraid. They're right there. They're small. Russia can just come right down and kick their ass. And it would be bad for everybody. I mean, that's where, so who knows? I mean, I'd say we're probably more likely to have a world war now, but that's usually what happens when psychotic, autocratic dictator types, it seems like, the last time we had a world war, seems like there were a couple of fascist dismantlers of democracy with big personalities and rallies. History is rhyming. The sine wave, or whatever, for history, you could lay it right over Cabaret and the 30s right now in Weimar America. I mean, Weimar America is over. We're back in we're fully in Hitler America now. Or maybe it'll just be harmless like the first time. Maybe it'll just be no big deal. Maybe Trump will just, go away with just a little tantrum, just a little, and maybe there'll be another slight January 6th type. But the liberals overreacted. It was just Trump derangement, These people shouldn't be in jail. The people who killed the police officers, and give them a pardon. Give them give them cash. Give them some kind of big government apology check. Give them a settlement because of how unfairly they were treated. I'm sure that won't happen again. I'm sure he'll just be dancing to YMCA and just being funny, just being that old Trump humor. He'll just be playing golf and roasting people. And Barron, isn't Barron so hot? He's 6'9". That's a real man. None of these 6'3" pussies. None of these 6'3" fucking short king shrimp dicks. I need a real man. I need a 6'9 3/4. I mean, do you realize how tall 6'3" is? Like, there's not that many 6'3" guys. What percentage of the population is 6'3"? It's got to be less than 10%. And it's just bad. This is why we're in this position, okay? Because of all the height shaming, the double standards, the worship of tall white men, basically. You know, they give him a pass. They give these tall white men a pass. Barron gets a pass because he's so tall. He can't possibly be like, who cares if he's a bad guy? Who cares if he's a Trumper? He's 6'9". Even though I'm a radical keffiyeh wearing NYU Palestine protester, I'll fuck Barron Trump. I'll buy Barron Trump coin. That's why Trump was at the crypto bar where I did stand-up comedy. Remember I was saying I used to do this open mic. It was every Sunday. It was free. And it was right on I watched WrestleMania there on TikTok. See, he's part of the zeitgeist. I'm not sure the Democrats are really paying attention to the zeitgeist. They're trying to act like it's 2008 and they can just run the Obama campaign over and over again with these small donation internet emails or whatever. Just keep sending emails. Keep bombarding them with fucking emails. You can reach us through our phones. Go on Theo Vaughn. Go on Joe Rogan. People will listen to your message. They don't want any fucking emails. You know how many fucking emails I got from Bernie? That's the problem with Democrats. In one word, I will give you the answer. The problem with Democrats, emails. Hillary's emails, Hunter's laptop emails. Just the fact that all these white collar woke people, they all have email jobs. It's ruined my career because of their fucking nerdy ass emails. Fuck you and your emails. Emails are lame as hell. Emails suck. I will never do fucking emails. I'm sorry. You're not going to imprison me in your fucking email jail. I will not go to email jail. Email jail. Email jail. I ain't gonna go to email jail. I won't. I will not do it, okay? I'm going to watch Neil Simon movies. As I'm going to drop out and just wander around Central Park smoking weed. And when the weather gets nice, you bet your ass I will be back out in the city. I'm a pioneer of neo-realism in live streaming. Who else is out on the streets of New York giving you the landscape while I'm writing poetic mega novel in progress live on the internet? Nobody. Nobody is giving you that. I'm a pioneer. I should be in the fucking Paris Review. God damn it. The transcriptions of my live stream should be in the Paris Review. But they're moribund. They're stuck in the 20th century with all these other people. Is the New Yorker on TikTok? Does the New Yorker have a TikTok account? Does the Paris Review? I know that they do have some kind of video content, like on their website. But anyway, thank you for watching. Let's see. I'm scheduling out my day here. All right. Well, yeah, thank you for watching. We will be back on Monday. It's the day the music died on Monday. It's February 3rd. Are people sick of the themes? The in memorial themes? There's just too many occasions, I guess. Every week. It's Groundhog Day, the music died. I think I did that last year. I'm getting tired. I'm using the same ideas. I'm reusing the same ideas, I guess. Second annual day the music, Groundhog Day, the music died. Not that anybody ever does the theme, but thank you for watching. We got to do a poetry reading. We got to book a poetry reading somewhere soon. We need a long one. We need another long, like 45-minute, hour-long two spot. So we need to figure that out. We need to get a venue for that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Keep informed, keep being skeptical, but in the right way. See, I think they've co-opted skepticism. Now everybody is like, they think that they're not being tricked because they're like, oh, they're going to release the JFK files and they're going to tell us what the fuck is really going on. And fuck, you know, the government for lying to us, and the fucking CIA, and the CIA overthrew all these governments and blah, blah, blah. It's all just lies and corruption and deceit and American imperialism. And we're skeptics. So we're going to elect Trump because Trump is like not the establishment. He's not the deep state. He's going to fire all those fucking people. Daddy's going to go in with his belt and just whip the shit out of all of them. Give him a little spanking. It's cool to be skeptical. It's cool to be like, nah, I don't believe what they're trying to tell me. I don't believe Fauci, man. I don't wear the fucking mask, man. I don't do the vaccine. What are you, fucking gay? Getting a vaccine? Why? Because they told you, man? Yeah, man. All right, I won't even go into the vaccine because I know it's a tick, or YouTube doesn't love that subject, so I won't even go into it. I'm in character discussing AI. If you're out there, hopefully the YouTube AI is as good as the Chinese AI. I doubt that it is. What's the Chinese YouTube? How have they improved upon YouTube? That's what I want to know. I mean, I guess we're probably watching all our movies on like Chinese pirate. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Oh, maybe I'll do 2.5. I'll just do 4 more minutes just to get to an even. I'm OCD about that kind of thing on BookTube. Okay, we've got the books in there. So yeah, I'll do a 2.5 because it's just I need to round it out to something. And who knows? Maybe we'll come up with some more gold. Like I said, go back and watch the old live streams from the first. See how I was vindicated by history and how I was right about probably mostly everything. You know, that's the thing about you're cursed with this sensitivity to the world is you see more than everybody else, right? You're tortured by just how, overly sensitive you are, how much you're receiving from what's really going on. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll be paying attention and following. Not, I mean, is this I mean, we weren't really following I talked about Biden shit. I would talk about stuff that happened. I'd talk about, I've always had takes. It was nice that Biden sort of governed in the background, you know? And it was sort of, it's like having a pilot. It's like you just want to be safe and secure, and you don't need them to fucking entertain you. It's just like fly the fucking plane, leave us alone. I mean, inform us of what's going on, when we're going to touch down, how the weather is, blah, 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 if there's going to be this or that, but just let us watch our in-flight movie and live our lives. Trump is the fucking in-flight movie. He's like on the thing. Oh, yeah, it's a DEI. Let me play my iPad. Let me play songs off my iPad, everybody. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Monday. I don't know. I'm going to try to experiment with, I'd like to do poetry for the first half hour. I'd like to start around 8:15 or 8:30 and just do poetry until they're done downstairs. Because poetry's quiet. I think we can do poetry and just get all the literature up, and that way we'll get people up. We'll start the show. They can still, we won't interrupt the downstairs. It's like I just hate to throw away that first hour. I know we can get more out of that. We can make that. I don't want to do features, like it's not about that. It's just about having more stage time for ourselves. Well, I don't know. Not really, but we have to learn. And how else are we going to get it? I mean, Jesus Christ. This is why I complain about it. It's one of my famous personality trademarks is how often I complain about how neglected I am. I know I'm going to have a breakthrough. There will be a point where the dam will break. You know, it's like once one person does it, then it'll become popular. Maybe I don't know. People were kind of and rightly so during the Biden era. I think people were so tired of politics, they kind of were just like not paying that much attention. They were kind of just atrophied by it. And there was a resistance atrophy. And there was still the remnants of it, like in the infrastructure with certain policies or the way that they did things. And that was fine. But now that we're being provoked again and antagonized, and there's, they always want to argue. It's like, well, the Democrats were doing this the whole time, or Obama deported more people, or this or that. And now we're just paying attention. But it's like, I don't know. The Trump policies are nuts and scary. And even the people that are in control, the fact that Hegseth guy is in control of everything is kind of nuts to me. But is he worse than Rumsfeld? Who knows? They just seem irresponsible. I mean, maybe it's better to have an irresponsible, incompetent person than somebody who knows what they're doing, who has a really bad agenda. The worst they can do is break things, it seems like, and cause chaos, which is what they want to do, but I don't know if they're really that good. They're just like incompetent bank robbers or something. Hopefully. They're incompetent at everything else. They can't run Twitter. They can't build cars. So hopefully they'll be incompetent at taking over the government. We'll see. We'll be turning it into content and trying to get clicks and likes. Thank you for watching. And just have a great time. Partying. It's all about partying and socializing. Just having fun, getting in the room together, having a great time with each other. That's resistance. I think that's a lesson, or like going forward, something we will have. It's like we want to try to motivate people from positive energy. So things like the open mic or places we can gather and have a good time. That's how we fight back. And that's how we build real bonds and real solidarity. I mean, real friendships, real human moments and memories. And the poetry is wrapped up in that, and the comedy is wrapped up in that, and the music, all of it. We'll write songs about it. There was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air, everybody. So we'll see you in the cafe on Monday. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend, everybody.